guys, good morning. I am Ramsel Umila, and for today's video, I will explain the terms and policies governing events. So if you are ready, let's go and find out them one by one. So I hope you learned a lot here. So let's start. What is pricing policy? Quoted prices are subject to applicable service charge and taxes. They are also subject to change when an increase is warranted, like when there is a substantial increase in prices of raw materials and operating costs during the time of the function. A rental fee for the venue is charged in addition to food and drinks if the total proceeds of the event package is below the required minimum covers and sales. This must be computed, and the amount shall depend on the existing room, rental size of the room to be used. So based on my understanding, yung pricing policy daw is naaangkop sa ganda ng service nila. Then, nagdadagdag rin sila ng singil kapag tumaas yung presyo ng ilang mga materials. Then, about sa venue naman, nagdadagdag din sila ng singil because of the food and drinks. And they need to calculate the price base sa laki ng room na gagamitin nila. Number 2 is deposit. A minimum deposit is required upon signing of contract. This can range from 30 to 50% depending on the establishment. This deposit shall be subtracted from the final bill on the day of the event. So about deposit, kinakailangan yung deposito sa pag-sign ng kontrata. Maaari itong magmula sa 30 to 50%. Ang deposito na ito ay ibabawas sa final bill on the day of the event. Number 3 is full payment. The balance shall be settled in full, covering the cost of minimum guarantee before the function, maybe 3 to 5 days prior to the event, unless a credit line established with the client. Additional charges and excess in minimum guarantee shall be charged to the client right after the event. So let's talk about the full payment. Based on my understanding, yung full payment is you need to pay first or yung paunang bayad bago mangyari yung event, maybe 3 to 5 days. Then, the additional charges will be charged after the event. Number 4, confirmation and cancellations. A booking is considered confirmed only upon payment of the required deposit and upon signing of a contract. Without this, the company reserves the right to cancel the booking in favor of another client. About confirmations and cancellations, nako-confirm lang ito kapag nagbayad based sa kinakailangang deposito at sa paglagda ng isang kontrata. So kung wala ang mga ito, may karapatan ng isang kumpanya na i-cancel ito at ibigay sa ibang mga kliyente. Food policy. The selected menu generally applies for all guests, but special dietary substitute can be made available upon request in limited quantities. Request for substitution of some dishes is discouraged but may be accommodated upon approval of the chef and consideration of prices and availability of required raw materials. Based on my understanding about food policy, yung menu na napili nila para sa lahat at yung dietary substitute ay limited lang. Kumbaga, kung sino lang yung may gusto dahil hindi naman lahat ay gusto ng ganito-ganyan. Then, kung gusto nilang palitan yung menu, nakadepende na ito sa chefs at sa mga kinakailangang materials. Minimum guarantee. Client is required to set a minimum number of covered servings to be served. This shall be paid in full even if the actual number of guests is lower than minimum. However, servings beyond the minimum guarantee shall be charged based on per cover rate. The final count for guaranteed covers must be relayed to the banquet office if possible 3 to 5 days before the event. About minimum guaranteed, the client is very important here because he needs to set a sufficient number of requirements. So, kinakailangan niyang mag-set ng mga kinakailangan. Then, kapag lumampas na ito sa minimum guaranteed, sisingilin ito based sa bawat cover plate. Then, the final count for guarantee covers ay kinakailangang ihatid sa tanggapan kung maaari ay 3 araw o 5 araw bago yung event. Cancellations and amendments. Events that are called are subject to change depending on the time of cancellation. If such cancellation is made much ahead of time, maybe a minimum fee of 10% is charged. Higher rate will be imposed 30 to 50%. If cancellation is done a day before or on the day of the event, since the caterer has already advanced expenses for corporations, some establishments require no less than 7 days notice for cancellations or amendment. Cancellations and amendments. To summarize, the events may change depending on the time of cancellations. 10% ang singil kapag mas maaga yung pag-cancel, then 30 to 50% rate naman yung ipapataw na singil kapag tapos na or bago pa lang gaganapin yung event. Dahil, syempre may mga nagastos na sila bago yung preparation. Then, yung pag-cancela naman ay hindi dapat bababa ng 7 araw. Alcoholic beverage. No alcoholic beverages shall be reserved to minors below 21 years of age. Alcoholic beverages. So, ayun nga daw, walang nakakalasing na inumin sa mga minor de edad na bababa sa 21 years old. And that's it. Yun lang yun. Extended hours. For parties or events that do not end as scheduled, additional surcharge per hour shall be imposed. This varies depending on the cost of venue rental. Extended hours. So, ayun nga, to summarize, kapag sumobra or hindi natapos dun sa schedule, may karagdagang bayad na yon at nakadepende daw yon sa renta ng venue. Client's liability for damages. Customers' clients shall be made accountable for damages incurred by its organizer and guests. They shall be made to reimburse the cost of the damage to the caterer. Client's liability for damages. So, based on my understanding, yung customer or yung kliyente ay may karapatang managot sa mga napinsala nila at kailangan nilang gumawa ng paraan upang mabayaran ang mga ito. Company liability for damages. The hotel caterer shall not in any way be responsible or liable to the client for any loss and or damages or of the injuries caused to or sustained by the client, his or her guest by reason of causes beyond the company's control, including but not limited to robbery, theft, robbery, or any contingency of whatever kind of nature. Company liability for damages. So dito naman, kapag may nawala or may napinsala, hindi ito kasalanan ng caterer. Liable dito ang kliyente. So for example, may nawalang spoon or other equipment related sa catering services, whether bayaran nila ito or palitan ng bago kung ano man yung mga nawala. Electrical requirements. Power requirements will be handled by the company's in-house electrical provider. Additional costs will be charged for use of equipment and other arrangements that involve additional power consumption, as in video taking, installation of additional electrical equipment. About additional requirements, ito naman yung paniningil nila ng karampatang bayad para sa paggamit ng ilang kagamitan na nagkukonsumo ng kuryente, tulad na lang halimbawa ng pagkuha ng video or additional requirements, and sa tingin ko, kabilang dito yung paggamit nila ng speakers at mga ilaw. Lost and found. The hotel catering establishment will not be responsible for the damage or loss of any merchandises or article left in the hotel venue prior to, during, and after the function. Lost and found. Based on my understanding naman, katulad halimbawa ng company liability for damages, hindi rin kasalanan ng catering services kapag may nawala or may naiwan sa hotel or venue during and after function. So, hindi nila kasalanan yon. Contractual liability. The hotel, resort, or catering establishment shall not be liable to the client for failure to perform its obligations in the banquet contract for reason beyond its control, such as strikes, labor disputes, accidents, or other similar incidents. So, dito naman sa contractual liability, for example, may nangyaring alitan, awayan, or hindi pagkakaintindihan, nagkakaroon ng isang problema. So, ito yung nagiging hadlang upang hindi nila magampanan ng ayos yung mga obligation nila. Pero hindi pa rin ito kasalanan ng hotel or ng resort. This is liability of organizer, signatory to contract. In cases where the client is a corporation, government, or non-government organization, the person signing for and in behalf of the company or organization shall be personally liable for the payment of obligations under the event contract. His or her signature constitute sufficient conformity on his or her part to be personally liable together with the company of organizations that he/she represents. So last is liability of organizer, signatory of contract. So dito naman, kung sino nagpirma or naglagda sa kontrata, sila yung liable na magbayad o may pananagutan kasama ang kumpanya na kinakatawan niya. So that's all and thank you.